Welcome to everyone to today's careers thinking for years 10 to 13. We'll get kind of started in just in a moment. If anyone has any questions kind of throughout the webinar, do use the Q&A function that's at the bottom of your kind of Zoom control, and we'll address these at the end of the session. This session kind of will be recorded, so it will be available kind of on demand on DLD College's YouTube channel, and this is part of our spring webinar series. So today we're joined by Lindsay Reed and Paul, who's kind of head of careers here at DLD. So they're going to be leading today's session. So what I'll do is I'll pass across to them to get started.
Okay, thank you very much, Sam. So welcome everyone to this webinar on careers thinking for years 10 to 13. My name is Paul Schoonenberg and I'm head of careers here at DLD College London. Also, I'm a university admissions tutor advising students on their university destinations, and I teach in the Department of Business and Economics. So next slide, please. So we encourage students here at DLD to really think about their careers from early on. That's going to provide all sorts of advantages in the longer term. But equally, it's important that students accept that there may be many different ideas of what constitutes success in a career. So success for one student may be something very different to another. We also think it's important that you should have differing thoughts about a variety of career routes that might be available to you. And it's absolutely fine to be not sure, particularly in the earlier years, about the exact course of direction in terms of a career path. One piece of advice that we would give out is to consider turning some of your passions into ideas, whatever those passions might be. Are there opportunities to transform those into actual ideas that could even incite ideas about business or career paths one day? So what are students passionate about, and could that evolve into an actual career one day? It's also important to navigate the limitations. There are multiple routes to success, and if you feel there are limitations in one area, there might be academic limitations or other limitations, you could still be extremely successful on another path. So do consider all of those different routes that might lead to a successful career. Next slide, please. So again, on that early stage careers thinking, those decisions are going to change over time. There's going to be a lot of change in your ideas, maybe from the early years through your time leaving the college. So you've got an opportunity to explore lots of different options, and also to explore what your strengths are, those academic strengths, but also your other strengths in terms of your personality, your soft skills. How might those evolve into a potential career? You should also look to set yourself short-term goals in terms of your early stage careers thinking. And that will help you clarify and solidify your thoughts as to whether a particular career might be suitable for you, or indeed otherwise. And this is the process of you being able to start to control your own future. So you're taking charge of your career planning at a very early stage, and that's only going to be advantageous. Next slide, please. So obviously, as you progress through years 10 to 11, we support our students, in particular around things like subject choices. One of the key decisions is going to be around whether to pursue the A-level route or potentially the BTEC route, which will evolve into the T-levels in the future, or you could go down the International Foundation Program route if you're an international student. And we will support you in terms of your thinking as to what qualification is going to be most suitable for students as they progress through the college here. Next slide, please. And to that effect, we've got a dedicated event here, which we call the options event. That will take, the next option event will take place in November of this year, where we encourage students to attend the options event and speak to students in other years within the college. So you will get the opportunity to actually speak to students studying those subjects at either A-level or BTEC or International Foundation Program across years 12, 13, 14. What's it really like to study that subject? What sort of learning techniques do I need to develop in advance of taking on that subject? And also the opportunity to speak to our expert subject teachers about those subject choices. And again, having that extra context within year 11. So when you're coming into making those subject choices, and also aligning those subject choices with careers as well. So certain subject combinations are going to be much, much more powerful in terms of early career planning. If you wanted to, for example, go into the medicine field or law, accountancy, business, the financial sector, veterinary science. So really getting that alignment in terms of career planning in and around subject choices. And we will support you through that. Next slide, please. We also do a lot of work here at the college to connect our students with real businesses, so international businesses. We recently ran a degree apprenticeships webinar with a degree apprentice who was working in the very specialized area of vehicle cybersecurity at Jaguar Land Rover. And that was really to give our students the opportunity to see how they could potentially blend degree level study with a career. And that, I think, is a really important way that students can start to understand the different ways that people are starting to study in tertiary education and align that study with a potential career outcome. Next slide, please. Then, of course, we've had National Careers Week very recently, where we've had all sorts of different resources available to DLD College London students. We transformed the eHub here at the college into a careers hub for the week, giving access to quite a wide range of both digital and physical resources that help students navigate some of the early career ideas, access to information about potential degree choices, degree apprenticeship choices, and lots of career planning advice in there as well. So that blending of information with also actual events where companies are coming into the college. Next slide, please. So just recently, we also attracted Schroders, the leading asset management firm based in the City of London, to an event here at the college where we had over 30 students attending that event, where they were presenting career options at their firm, at Schroders, ranging from apprenticeship roles to trainee roles, to graduate programs. So really good opportunity again for students to connect with leading companies, leading businesses who are going to be able to provide potential career outcomes down the line. Next slide, please. And then obviously the degree apprenticeships. Again, this is aligning a career idea with actual tertiary level study. So the degree apprenticeships are relatively young still in the United Kingdom, but they are growing momentum. And now they have many, many different employers now offering degree apprenticeship programs. But if you are considering that route, you should prepare very early. If you are serious about going down the degree apprenticeship route, which is blending study with work. And those apprenticeships do require a considerable amount of research and preparation. They are handled rather differently in terms of the application process as well. And of course, working and studying concurrently is not an easy option. So people need to be aware of the demands of blending tertiary level study and working at the same time. But for some people, that is an outstanding option. Next slide, please. And then, of course, work experience. Getting work experience on a CV early on is very powerful, and it demonstrates to an employer that you are serious about their industry. So do speak to the careers department here at the college about how you might approach getting that foot in the door, that work experience. And also, potentially students should use, family contacts or friends who might be able to assist them with an entry point into either an internship or some summer experience that's going to help them with their employability. Also contacting employers as well about relevant opportunities. Many employers do react very favorably to students who reach out to them, contact them, asking for work experience and showing an interest in their industry, in their sector. They are often the people who get that work experience, who've actually asked for it. And then also do consider virtual work experience. So increasingly we're seeing people getting quite credible levels of experience online or through digital channels, what we call virtual work experience, where you'll be connecting into line management, connecting into your placement or piece of work experience remotely. And that can also be very powerful and provide really good experience to students. Next slide, please. And then finally on my side, we really do need to think about skills development for the future, for your future career planning. So that might be some of the sort of areas that we're developing within the curriculum to try and focus our students here on opportunities for career development and management. But also students can do a lot themselves. It might be by joining our very highly developed CCA program here at the college, might be getting involved in team sports, might be getting involved in a Duke of Edinburgh Award or other experiential learning that's going to give those students an edge in the job market in the future. And I've listed some top skills for you here that are going to be sought after by companies in the next few years. And again, it's looking at ways that those soft skills and other skills outside of academic skills can be developed further, because these are often the skills that are going to give you the edge in your career and in the job markets of the future.
Hi, so I'm Dr. Lindsay Reed. I am the house mistress for Northern House. So thank you to Paul for kind of giving that very careers department focused overview of careers. So one of the things that I'm going to be talking about today is actually the importance of that careers thinking in years 9 and 10. And very often when you talk about students in year 9 and 10 thinking about careers, people's first response is often, oh, that's quite soon, especially if you're talking about university, UCAS. But actually, it's a perfect time to start having these conversations, to start taking action, because year 9 and 10, there's more time and there's more academic freedom. Students in year 11, they're sort of feeling the pressure. They've got their GCSE exams, they've got revision, particularly those who are on our 1 year year 11 program where it's quite intense. So actually during year 9 and 10, when you're not having all of that stress, you've got more time to actually sort of have these conversations, to start thinking about what areas are interested in you, and you're not restrained by subject choices because you're still on a broad subject program. You haven't specialized yet into year 12. So you haven't yet cut anything off in terms of what you could go on to study. So what we want at DLD is we want all of our sixth forms starting off year 12 with the right subject choices. We want them starting confidently with purpose. In order to make sure we get that bit right, backtracking into our sort of upper school is really important. So what we can start to do with upper school students is to say, do you have any idea of any sort of broad career areas? Do you think that you might like to do medicine, business, finance? Do you think you might want to do engineering or chemistry? And you can start to sort of take those broader areas and sort of reverse engineer subject choices. So you could say, right, if you think you might like medicine, let's look at the entry requirements of 5 universities and see what they're looking for. Then that will help to guide the subject choices that they're making at the end of year 11. It could also be that students aren't sure exactly what career area they want to do. Maybe they're looking at a few different ones, and actually many of these entry requirements are overlapping. So if you go and look up 5 different degrees, it may be that they look for similar types of degrees, or maybe you start to find out that it's based on UCAS points. So therefore, it takes the pressure off. They know that if they make their subject choice, they're not having to worry about sort of restricting their options further down the line. What we also find is that students in upper school, when they have a clear idea of the subject choices, when they have a clear idea of where their subject choices are going to take them, when they get to those particularly stressful times in year 11, it can be a really good motivator. So you can kind of, as a teacher on that sort of front line of it, say to them, all right, look, you're really stressed, but remember what your goal is. Like Paul said, having those small goals is really, really helpful. So even if it's saying to a student, look, I know you're really struggling in this subject, but we know it's not one you need to get next year, but you need to have passes in all of these subjects. It can just help to kind of take the pressure off, just to give them that little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. So reverse engineering their subject choices for sixth form based upon careers can be a really, really helpful tool. And we find that it just means that when they get into sixth form, one of the most painful things as a teacher, as a house mistress, is when students say, oh, I really wanted to apply for this course, but I haven't picked the right subjects. So just having that awareness when they're going into it means that they're starting sixth form on the right foot and they're confident. They won't lose out on learning time if they end up having to change their subjects sort of a month or two into their course. So another reason that thinking about careers in year 9 and 10 is really important is in year 9 and 10, you've got about 3 to 4 years to build skills development and evidence for personal statements and applications. So at DLD, we typically start the personal statement process around the end of year 12. Now, if the students at the end of year 12, and they start to realize that, oh, maybe I don't quite have enough evidence for my personal statement, or maybe some work experience would have been useful, or I don't have this, they've only really got that holiday, that summer holiday time in order to rectify it. Now, if you're starting off in year 9 and 10 and you're saying to students, all right, what evidence have you got that you're community spirited? What evidence have you got that you're resilient? They've got a lot more time to build those skills, whether it's through the CCA program. Like Paul said, the Duke of Edinburgh award scheme is really powerful for building up a wide variety of skills and evidence. It could even be giving them that time for work experience. So they'll have about 3 summer holidays. Those holidays are quite long. If you took a week or 2 out of that just to go into a workplace and actually view what's going on and build up a little bit of awareness, get good references, that's really powerful. And it means that by the time you're getting to the end of year 12 and you're starting to build your personal statement, you immediately have a bank of evidence to showcase your skills and your attributes ready for the UCAS applications. And I think, as Paul said at the beginning, coming up with a career plan, knowing what you want to do, is not an easy decision. And whilst you get students that are very clear in what they do want to do, there's also a lot of students that find that they're unsure of what they want to do. And actually, they're unaware, most students are unaware of actually how many different careers are out there. They hear about the sort of standard ones like medicine, business, but actually there's a whole host of careers they do not know exist. And actually, when we're tackling that, it's not so much the big events, it's the small everyday conversations that can make a big difference. So I will always encourage my upper school students to actually speak to subject teachers. If they enjoy maths, speak to their maths teacher, find out the pathway that, you know, we were all sort of in a university or professional career before we became teachers. What was the pathway they took before they got into teaching? By doing this, it can just help to highlight different degree courses, different career pathways that can be taken in order to sort of get to a final destination. And I think, as Paul said earlier, we have over the course of a lifetime, a person can actually go through different career paths, and there are many career path changes that we will experience. And I think helping students to understand that that's okay, that things can change. It is fluid. You're not sort of picking the career for the rest of your life. Again, just helps to alleviate some of that pressure, helps to take it off. And as Paul said earlier, we believe in taking a passion and can we make a career out of that? And I think helping students understand interdisciplinary crossovers. So if you've got a student who loves biology, but they also love computer science, two subjects that wouldn't necessarily feel like they go together, or biology and arts, actually helping them to understand the careers out there that can bring these two subject areas together, because they do exist, can actually make it a lot easier for students to go, oh, okay, yeah, my two favorite things, I can bring these together, and that would be a really good option, instead of them feeling like they're having to choose between one or the other. So I think really, it's just helping them nurture their own path. It's not about them necessarily getting it right the first time. It's about making sure the students understand the options that are out there and the options that are right for them. So that's all from me. So I think it's now, if anyone has any questions.
Nothing has come through on the Q&A so far, so I'll give it just a moment, just in case anyone's having a bit of a think of how to word it, and I'll just kind of flag the final webinar of our spring series will be taking place on Thursday, the 27th of April. That's going to be led by Vice Principal Dr. Sarah Watson and Assistant Principal Lauren Moores, and that's going to be kind of aiming for A-stars, which is all about kind of exploring the world of academia and linking that back to progress and achievement. So yeah, do join if you can. Still haven't had any questions through on the Q&A function, so I'm going to assume that that everything is kind of good. So I think we'll wrap up there. But thanks very much to Lindsay, and thanks very much to Paul for leading the session today. And as I say, this will be available on demand on YouTube on the DoD channel. So thanks very much, all.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.